Hello, hello everyone. Welcome in, and we are back from our little Labor Day vacation. We had a great time. Today is Friday, September 11th, and guess what day it is? Yes, it is episode 15. I'm Linda, and this is Carl Sullivan off to the side here. We are Colourwerx Designs. Welcome into episode 15 of the Fab Friday broadcast after a little break for Labor Day. I would be remiss if I didn't actually acknowledge that today is 9/11. So I hope with everything else going on, you can take a moment to reflect back and honor those heroes, present and past, that help us through all of these dilemmas and things going on that are not so nice. And hopefully we have better news for our future here. So with that, I want to bring up the happy dial a bit. We're going to get right into our program in a minute. We're going to be talking about braided piecing here. So we're going to really talk about more of the center of this table runner, not necessarily making the table runner, but what you can do with this braided piecing strip and other uses that you might be able to do that for. So I want to show you that. I also want to show you something I finished over the weekend because the weather did cool down in the last couple days here. So I was able to get out to the garage and do a little machine quilting. And so this is a UFO. I'm scooting out of the picture for a minute so I can show you. This is a little UFO I finished. It's the Gasly's quilt. So if you don't know what the Gasly's are, these are characters and really fun fabric from the Alexander Henry fabric company. But I have been working on this quilt for about 3 years and finally got it out to the long arm and quilted it. And it's going to be ready in time for Halloween. Let me just flip it. There we go, Carl. So there's the bottom of it. It's just a fun little block. And then I kind of fussy cut some Gasly's right there. So these are fun. We'll show the back too because that is super fun. That's a panel from the Gasly's. And so, yeah, they're one of my favorite fabrics that ever, and I collect them. So whenever they come out with a new Gasly print, I have to go buy it. But that was fun. So now I'm going to get back in my chair here and scoot back in, give you guys the news of the day. I hope everybody is doing well. How's everybody doing? Are we streaming okay? Let us know. I see lots of people checking in. So let's see who's checking. Hi. Oh, who do we have checking in, Carl? Let's see. Kay. Hello, Kay. Nice to see you again. You're checking in from, what is that? Oh, SCFD. I didn't get that. And Trudy's checking in from Naples. Good morning, Trudy. Nice, or it's good afternoon to you. That's great. And anybody else? Nancy, hello. Ooh, Nancy's vacationing in Florida. That sounds nice. Actually, very nice. Really nice. So, anybody else? Let's see. Terry checking in from San Diego. And Kelly from humid Tennessee. Well, speaking of humidity, let's go out to the cactus cam for a minute if Carl's ready, because it's kind of smoky out there. We're not in any danger, but you can see that it's kind of smoky out there on the San Ysidro mountain range. We did have some golfers come through. We are cooler weather this week, which is good. So it should be active out there on the golf course if they can handle the smoke that's going on. So the smoke is actually being all driven in from the wind coming in from the north. And because we live in a valley, which is the Coachella Valley, it kind of settles right in between the two mountain ranges. And so the other day it was a little bit like Mars, kind of like what if you saw any of the pictures of San Francisco with an orange haze. We had that about 5 days ago. It's since cleared a bit, but still it's still smoky there, as I can say. So anybody else, Carl? Marianne checking in from Wake Forest. Hello, you guys are great. So everybody is just doing great. It looks like such a
Gasly quilt.
Oh, thank you for the compliment on the Gasly quilt. Yeah, it's a labor of love. I love the Gaslys. If you don't know who they are, just go ask your quilt shop for Gasly fabric. It's very fun. And anybody else before we move on with the news? Julie, good morning from Oceanside. Good morning to you. Are you home or are you in Southern Pines? Julie's like bi-coastal. So she goes to Southern Pines, North Carolina, and then she comes home to the West Coast. So we'll see. And Linda Stutz from Laurinburg. Good morning, Linda. Used to come to Lindarella's. Thank you. That was our shop, in case anybody wants to know what Lindarella's is. That was our old shop in Southern Pines, North Carolina, called Lindarella's Quiltworks, which Carl and I ran for about 8 years or so. So let's talk about the news before I get to the tutorial, because we just have a couple quick announcements. The Feel and Groovy Quilt Along has started. This was week 1. There's still time to jump into this. There's no problem. All you need is your pattern. You can see the little slug that just came up with Carl there. If you want to join our Facebook group, it's called Colourwerx Quilt Alongs on the Facebook group page. Other than that, the pattern is available in our Colourwerx shop, and all you need to do is get the pattern. And then this week I also put out a little YouTube video, so you'll find that either on our blog or up on our YouTube page, and it'll tell you everything you need. It's a great scrappy quilt, and it's 3 techniques in one quilt. So we're going to be doing slash and sew piecing, we're going to be doing machine applique on this one, and we're also going to be doing a little bit of paper piecing on the border. So that has started. So that's the news there on the quilt along. The other news going on in our shop is we have a super fabric sale going on again. So this particular bolt of beautiful lavender batik is looking for a home. So if you would like to get some beautiful fabrics, most of these are basics that are, or blenders at some really kind of rock bottom prices. I believe we have some still left up there. So these are basically, this is yardage that we had for doing Colourwerx kits. The kits have since sold out. So now we are able to we're trying to clear the inventory so we can bring in new stuff. So that is the super fabric sale going up at the Colourwerx shop. Just go to colourwerx.com. There's a link there right on the front page for you to take advantage of our super fabric sale. And then for anybody wondering about samples coming up, we are planning a sample sale. This is samples that have been quilt samples that are finished. That's going to be coming up probably at the end of September or 1st of October, just in time for holiday gift giving. And as always, when we used to sell all of our samples in the Lindarella shop, we don't mind if you put a label on one of our finished samples and claim it like you made it. We will vouch for you to any of your relatives. So there will be some nice samples there that you can do for gift giving if you'd like, or just to snag a finished quilt or something like that. So let's move over if we can. Oh, I didn't. And sorry, I forgot to announce the $10 gift card winner from 2 weeks ago. So the question, if you remember 2 weeks ago, was, do you make a test block? And that was because Carl did a fabulous tutorial on making a test block using construction paper. And if you want to go see that, it's episode 14 up on our YouTube channel, or you can find it on our Facebook page. But it's episode 14, and it is a great tutorial about using construction paper to make your test block or to test out color choices or things like that. But the question for that week was, do you make a test block? And that everybody went into the random thingamajizer to have a chance to win a $10 Colourwerx gift card. And the winner was Karen Robbins. So congratulations, Karen. We will get in touch with you. I will email you your Colourwerx $10 gift card. And be sure you stay tuned for the end of this show, because we're going to ask another question for your chance to win another $10 gift card. Did I forget anything, Carl? Now, before I do this tutorial, we're all over the place right now. Can you tell we take 1 week off and we have no idea what we're doing? I know, it's horrible. Okay, let's go over to the cutting board and talk about easy braided piecing. There's the cutting board. I'm moving across the room now. And I'm going to put this right here so we can talk about this for a minute. So when we look at this little Halloween table runner, which I made several years ago. So this was made for Lindarella's, the shop. This was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 years old, but I use it as a part of my Halloween decorations here. We used to teach this as a class. So what we're going to concentrate on today is actually making the center strip. Now, how you use this center braided strip when you get done with it is up to you. you can actually make a table runner if you'd like. You can, and all I did was put like a 4-inch or 3-inch border here, depending on what your border fabric might look like. You could actually chop these strips up and make placemats if you like. You could actually make a pillow. You could actually make longer strips. So you can grow this strip, and you'll see it as I do the tutorial, as long as you want to make it for whatever use you're going to make it. So if your tabletop is 7 feet long and you want a 7-foot table runner, there you go. Or you can actually make like 3 or 4 long strips and put them together and make a baby quilt. So let's see how you start this. It's super easy to get started, and it's super easy to do, and it's also scrap friendly. So what I have on the table here are some strips. This is Krista Quilts fabric. If you like this, go over to kristaquilts.com. And these are orphan jelly roll strips. So these are orphan 2.5-inch strips that I've cut to 2.5 inches wide by 9 inches long. So 2.5 inches wide by 9 inches long. Now, if you have a bunch of scraps and you want to cut them at 1.5 inches by 11 inches, great. If you want to cut them at 2 inches wide by 12 inches, fine. Whatever your length of your strip is, not necessarily the width, whatever the length of the strip is, meaning if it's 9 inches long, 11 inches long, that will dictate how wide your braided strip can actually get cut down to. So if I'm working with 9-inch long strips, that means I can probably make this about 9 inches wide. If I'm working with 12-inch long strips, then this will probably become a little wider, if that makes sense. So it's very scrap friendly and whatever works. So you start with strips. For the purpose of the table runner, these are 2.5 inch again by 9-inch strips. And I'm just gonna move all these aside. So you just cut up a bunch or whatever you have from your scraps. And the way you start piecing this is you're just gonna put them perpendicular, 2 strips perpendicular to each other, just like so. So lay out perpendicular. This then flips over, right sides together, and I'm only going to sew from here to here, which is the width of the strip. So that's about 2.5 inches. So I'm going to put those two like that, right sides together. I'll bring my other sample in. So here they are, and they get sewn where the pins are. Throw that off. And what does that look like when I get done and actually press it out? It looks like that. So I have something that looks like that, kind of like a, what is that called? A T angle thing.
Right.
A right angle thing, yes. Okay, what do I do next? I take my next scrappy strip or whatever I'm going to put on. And so you're going to start building like this, if that makes sense. It's almost like building a staircase. So you take your next strip, same width, put it right sides together, right on top there, and you're going to sew from the length of the strip. So you're going to start here and sew all the way down the length of the strip. And so when you do that, you get something that looks like this. All right? And all I've done is press out, so you can see everything is starting to press out the same direction, if that makes sense. So the next thing I'm going to do is, instead of adding, I don't add to this side, I'm going to flip to the other side. And I'm going to take my next scrappy strip. It's going to go on, and I call it like capping off. So you're capping off each side, and that goes right sides together, just like that. I sew down the length of the strip, and you don't even have to have a good 1/4 inch seam. If you use the edge of your presser foot, you'll be fine too, as long as you're consistent, as long as it's a straight seam. That creates, voila, something like that. I add my next strip onto the other side, whatever it is. And so I just keep building and building and building, and you just keep going. Now, keep in mind, as you build your braided strip, that anything that's down here at the bottom and anything that's at the other side, meaning the top of your braided strip, whenever you get at the length you want it to be, these are probably going to get chopped off. So put the strips that you don't like, or the ones that you least like, at the bottom and the top. Save your favorite strips for in the middle. Those will get shown the most. So let's see what happens when you get a full strip done. So here I have kind of a sample. This is about as long as I wanted to build it out because I wanted you guys to be able to see it. basically. So I have my strip. Now you would build this out. You would keep building out top onto the top of it, okay, until you get it the length you want it to be. So if you're making placemats, you maybe want this to be about 18, 19, 20 inches long. If you're doing a table runner, just keep building on top until you get to the length you need, or I always add about 6 inches just in case. And then if you're doing baby quilts, again, you could build 3 of these, and then I'll show you how you straighten these out, then you would just sew them together. So once you get it to the length you want it to be, I usually end up putting my ruler on it, just like so. This is an 8.5-inch ruler. Now, keep in mind, what we're going to do is actually chop off this side, and then straighten the top and bottom. So keep in mind that these places where the braids or where the strips intersect are not necessarily the center of this braid. So what you need to do is actually take your braid, give it a little fold over, and use the point up here and just kind of give it a little crease. And again, this is kind of an eyeball thing. And so because this is an 8.5-inch ruler, if I want to make this braid now 8.5 inches wide, which is what I usually do when I'm using the 2.5 by 9-inch long strips, I will just kind of eyeball this this ruler into the center of the strip. And because I don't really like to just go ahead and cut and take chances, I'm going to actually draw the line with my Frixion pen. So, because I want to see this before I cut it. So I do this quite a lot when I'm fussy cutting too. I'll draw it in before I cut. So I just want to make sure I'm kind of headed down the center of this braided strip. And I can kind of eyeball, you probably can't see it, it's right here. I just want to be able to eyeball for myself that I'm kind of in the center here. Now, if I wanted to, with these 2.5 by 9-inch strips, if I wanted to come out another 1/2 inch on either side and make it a little bit more wide of a braid and get more use out of my fabric strips, I could do that. Just for this purposes, I thought it would be easier just to put the ruler down. So what I'm going to do is just chop off there. That goes away. Well, let me do this so I don't do something horrible. There we go. So I'm making this 8.5 inches wide. There it is. So now I've got something that's starting to look like a braid. Now, if I'm ready to like finish this off, let's say this goes on and on and on, and I'm making a table runner or even placemats, I need to make sure I have a straight edge here and a straight edge here to add my border fabric on if I wanted to. All I'm going to do up here is come over to the point where I'm not veering in, if that makes sense. I'm lining up a straight line of the ruler to the edge I just cut. Whoosh, that goes away, unfortunately, but you're creating a look. And now you make it the size you need to make it, or you just even it up again. So here I would just even up, and you can see what I mean about put those strips that you don't like or that you least like at the bottom, because you're not going to see much of them. And there you go. I have now what looks to be kind of complicated, but it's not, because you can just see how I made it. And now I can border that. I can put 3 of these together and make a baby quilt, meaning if they were longer, or even a lap quilt. I can, if I had charm packs, this is another idea, the 5-inch squares, you could cut each 5-inch square into 1.5 by 5-inch strips. I think that you would get 4 out of every 5-inch square, and you could make this really neat kind of scrappy looking braid and make a couple of those braided strips and put them together and make a pillow. So those are just some ideas on the braided pieced strip. Let me grab my Halloween thing. So the Halloween table runner was basically, it measures, I think it measures, you can't see the whole thing. I'm going to bet it measures about 40 inches long because it's coming off the cutting board here. And this was just based on the table I put it on and where we display things. And then I just like this border print. So I cut it so I could see more of the border print. So this is about 3.5 inches long, 3.5 inches wide, I'm sorry. And then I just, when I straightened out my braid to either side, I just lapped and sewed on the borders and capped it off at the end, and then did some binding with a striped quilt. So there you go. That is easy braided piecing, and it's really fun to do, and it's really great to use all your scraps on. So we're going to go back to the cactus cam, see what's going on while I get back into position. Oh, God, we have the worst luck.
You just missed the group of 4.
The absolute worst luck. Because every time we go to the cactus cam, they've left. And it's just ridiculous. So
over here.
All right, so let us know what you think of easy braided piecing, because I am curious and I want to know what you guys think of that. So there's let me get that in the camera. There we go. There it is. So that is super fun, and it's great for use of orphan jelly rolls, scraps. It's really fun to do. And once you just start it, you just keep adding and adding and adding. And so let us know what you think of that. Carl, are there any comments? Let's see.
Well, we've got people checking in. So
oh,
let's go back.
Checking in. Pat, hello, Pat from Pinehurst. Nice to see you again.
Julie liked my paper piece and she got it right.
Oh, good. And Lynn from New Mexico. Oh, great. We have everybody checking in from all over the country, and that is great. And good morning from Helen. Good morning. You're not late. You can always go back and look at this. And as with all of our Fab Fridays, you can always go back and review them. They're there forever, and that's kind of unfortunate with sometimes the way we look that they're there forever. But I do have exciting news. I must share the exciting news for Carl and I today. We think it's pretty exciting. Our hairstylist, Denise, is back, and she's open. Gavin Newsom, our governor, esteemed governor, finally let the hairstylist, not the manicurist yet, but the hairstylist get to come back into business. So we are headed to Denise this afternoon to get a little haircut, and we're pretty excited about that because we've missed our hairstylist. So anyway, let me tell you what the question is for this week, so you can enter the $10 gift card, although we put everybody in who comments. So our question this week is, what will you make with the braided strip piece? I don't know what to call it, the braided strip piecing. If you like that tutorial, do you have a plan for placemats? How about a Christmas table runner? How about Christmas gifts? That's a great Christmas gift if you're trying to use up all your scraps and you don't really know what to make people. You can do a couple table runners for people. It's super easy. And the quilting on this one, I should add, I didn't do anything fancy on the quilting. Actually, what I did is I stitched in the ditch going around. I think is that all yeah. Oh no, I stitched in the ditch, and then I don't know if you can see it, I actually stitched in the ditch of the braids. So I don't know if that shows up on the black there, but I didn't do anything fancy for quilting. I'm not a very good machine quilter, free motion machine quilter. So I just stitched in the ditch with a monofilament thread, and then stitched in the ditch along the braids there. So that is something super easy as a gift that would be great, and it's a great use of scraps. So the question is, to enter the $10 Colourwerx gift card is, what will you do with the braided strip piece? And with that, let's see who else is. Make sure you like and share this video, you guys. We're still growing our Colourwerx family here. Helen says, I'm in from Moreno Valley. Oh, is it smoky there? Is it smoky as it is here? It's smoky out. Let's put it this way. Jennifer says, I like the easy piecing for something that's right. It does look complex, but it's not. So that is right, Jen. You can impress your friends with that tutorial. And anybody else, Carl, before we bug out for our haircuts that I'm super excited about, because then I'm going to put myself, I hate to show you this, look at that. So I'm going to put myself in the garage this afternoon and do a dye job after we get our haircuts. I'm not sure I can handle my gray anymore. It's horrible, horrible. Helen says a little smoky. Yeah, it is. It's like that here. It's a little smoky. No fear. We're not in any danger or anything. And what's going on now? Carl says, wait, look at this.
I've got a question from Terry.
Terry says, with 1.5-inch strips, could it be made into a border? Yes. Did I not mention that? Yes. This is a wonderful way of putting a border on a quilt where you don't want to spend a tremendous amount of time piecing or doing perfect piecing, this is a great border for a quilt. And again, the width of your strip and the length of your strip determines the width of the braided strip when you get done piecing. So if you used 1.5 inch, let's say 1.5 inch by 6 inch or 1.5 inch by 5 inch long strips, then that would be a wonderful border. Yes, yes. Thank you, Terry, for that question. That's a great question. Anybody else before we bug out of here? Helen says, I like the border idea. I do too. It's great. And it's also a really fast baby quilt too. If you do 3 of those strips by about 40 inches long, and then and maybe they're 6 inches wide, then you piece the braids together, maybe flip the middle braid so it's going in the opposite direction. It looks really complex, and it's not at all. So there's a zillion different ways of using the braided piecing. And almost any project you can think of: pillow, border for quilt, placemats, table runner, 3 together, 2 together. It's great. Or to separate other blocks. If you have a block, pieced block, and you want to separate the rows of those pieced blocks, stick a braid in between. That looks great too.
I'm going to go to the cactus cam because
what's going on?
People do go.
Oh, Carl just wants to show the cactus cam again. He loves his cactus cam, but there you go. It's a much clearer picture this week for some reason. I think we have a new app going on. We're always trying to improve our technology, but look at that. We're on the 15th hole, and we have golfers.
Just to show we do.
Thank goodness we have golfers. So with that, we're going to bug out of here, you guys. We really appreciate you tuning in again today. We're going to be back next Friday with another tutorial. We haven't decided what it is because, quite frankly, Carl can't decide if he's doing another color tutorial or if I'm doing something else. So we will have a surprise, but please tune in next Friday. And please don't forget about the Feelin' Groovy quilt-along going on, our fabric super sale. If you need any kind of coordinates, or there's some Kona snow, I think, up there still. There's some batiks that are up there. But we appreciate everybody who's ordered so far. So we thank you so much for your support. And with that, we're going to be out of here. We wish you all a happy, happy Friday. Happy Colouricious thoughts. Happy quilting. I hope you enjoyed our tutorial. And we thank you so much for tuning in. Great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.